Daniela Polatkova has been a postal worker for 3 months. She's new to the job, and newcomers in Bohumín are always sent to work the Pudlov route. For a letter carrier, it's the most dangerous route in the Czech Republic. But the dogs aren't the real problem.
At first I was afraid of the dogs, but not anymore. Sometimes they jump up and tear a letter out of my hand, but I'm not afraid of that anymore.
So, what is she afraid of?
Not the dogs. It's the people here who can be very unpleasant.
Unpleasant is putting it mildly. Polatkova now officially avoids 3 neighborhoods where the Postal Service has suspended delivery. Letter carriers there were mobbed and beaten, one so severely that she was put into a coma. Postal workers aren't allowed to talk about the incident. To find out why letter carriers aren't welcome here, we visit the outskirts of Bohumín, a city 400 kilometers east of Prague. Unemployment in many places is well over 50%. Pudlov is a typical Czech ghetto. The people living here were pushed out of the inner city areas. Tourists don't come here, and now neither do the postal workers. Local resident Vladimir Slepčík says people living in Pudlov have been subject to repeated humiliation and discrimination. He sees this as the city's latest attempt to encourage the people here to leave. No one wants to answer our questions about the postal worker who was beaten into a coma. Vladimir Slepčík says she just collapsed.
The letter carrier was so thin, and she had these heavy bags. She just fell over. Nothing more.
There's more to the story, but no one wants to talk about it. Kumar Viswanathan knows this all too well. The social worker is collecting signatures to convince the Postal Service to resume deliveries. But that's a tricky proposition, tantamount to convincing locals to be friendly toward the authorities.
The fact is, the letter carriers also deliver our welfare checks. But they won't just give them to us. They want us to bribe them. But no way. That's not fair. And then you wonder why postal workers get beaten.
When important documents need to be delivered in Bohumín, the police are called on to make the delivery. Kumar Viswanathan is going to show us how to address the problem of ghettoization, but not right now. It's too dangerous to be here late at night. Police officers Olin Dudak and Marek Tomas show us the squalid conditions in Bohumín. They say 80% of the people living here are Roma, and there are few peaceful nights. They get a call for backup. There's a problem with a vehicle spot check. Despite all the noise, residents seem to go about their business. The next morning, Vera Hotsniakova is on the job delivering mail in Bohumín. For 6 months, she received no social assistance because an important letter had never been delivered. Several weeks ago, she took on the job herself on behalf of her fellow residents, so far without any problems.
We need the mail. Some of us don't have time to go to the post office ourselves, and some don't get their unemployment benefits because there was no mail.
But the mail isn't the residents' only complaint. After inner-city areas were restored, those with lower incomes couldn't afford homes there. As a result, underprivileged areas have sprung up throughout the Czech Republic. The children there don't go to school. They grow up in poverty and eventually end up in places like Bohumín. Like their parents, they live lives deprived of opportunities to get a foot up the ladder. Years ago, the outskirts of town were desirable places to live. Now, residents here can't even get the mail. Coma.The believes there's a better way. His organization supports families who are struggling to pay rent in the city, so authorities can't displace them to the ghettos. With the city taking a hard line, they need the help. The Viola family's kids returned home just a few days ago. They were in a children's home for 5 years after authorities decided their parents couldn't support them and took them away.
We fought for a long time. It took over 5 years to get our children back. They were in a home the entire time. It finally worked, but the problem was we didn't have anywhere to live because we had no money.
Visvanathan hopes to convince authorities that lower-income families have a right to live inside the city, too. The city could benefit by preventing the development of underprivileged areas. It would be a welcome development for Daniela Polakova and could help keep mail carriers safe. For now, it's back to the Pudlov route. No threats or insults today, but tomorrow's another day and another shift in Pudlov.